Welcome, agents. So, a bit of a rant video today, I'll be honest. Now, I recently started scripting a video about why you should be playing the Division 2, which I still plan on making, but I was just researching online when I come across this article, or a article from Kotaku, about the removal of expeditions. It came out about 5 days ago. Now, I covered the removal of expeditions on my own channel with a pretty lengthy video and my impressions before, but I never actually followed up to see if any of the devs responded, and they kind of have. Now, this is what a Ubisoft representative actually went and said. Hey everyone, we always envisioned expeditions as a rotating experience that will be open for some time, closed for a limited duration and become available again later. Part of that intention includes making sure that this experience offers new ingredients for replayability, which is where masteries would normally come in. Now, since the mastery system was not ready for episode 1, we had to make a decision between delaying expeditions altogether or still open them for a full rotation to give all of you a taste of this experience. However, we don't want you to exhaust yourselves replaying an activity that currently does not offer the correct ingredients for replayability. Therefore, we would prefer to bring expeditions back once the mastery system is at a correct level of polish. We are sensitive to the discussions about the availability of the Diamondback in the meantime, however. Okay, so let's just break this down a little bit. So, lucky us, the devs are happy to discuss the availability of, the issue with the Diamondback after they removed the expeditions without actually telling anyone. And from my own research of all of this stuff, I haven't come across them discussing or talking about what they're going to do about the Diamondback. They've kind of been on vacation or hiatus for the last couple of weeks, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own time off. No issues with that. But they've not talked about, the availability issue with the Diamondback. Now, they did announce the expeditions being removed a couple of days before they actually ended. And that was on their official Twitter page, but they never actually showed this in-game. Now, if you go back to my video talking about this, I actually provided the example of it showing up on, on the map, but it didn't say that it was coming to an end. It said it would come on the correct day, but then there would be another rotation, the same day. So why is that so hard? So what I found interesting about this statement is how the rep clearly explains what they envisioned for expeditions, i.e. a rotating experience with replayability factors. So why were none of the players aware of this? I cover this game as a hobby, but I go on Reddit every single day, Twitter every day, and I was as surprised as anyone when I found out that this was something that was limited. It kind of goes back to the stash base issue, and I'll get onto that, where this is limited or temporary. And the reason why we didn't know is because they never told us. It was in none of their marketing material. It was in none of the episode 1 stuff. They just never told anyone that this was that. But this rep handler clearly knows what they want. But there's this disconnect between the developers and what they want and the players, because they just don't tell us. Now, the uproar when this became official or was announced about expeditions being removed, it was pretty intense because no one knew. Now, to me, I just don't understand why it's so hard to just tell the players that this is the case, And this is one of the major issues I have with this game. It's just the bad communication. And it's actually surprising for me to say that, because every week the devs come out and they address state of the game, and they clearly spend a lot of the time on Reddit and Twitter responding to players. And that's all good, the state of the game is good, and they respond to players on Twitter, on Reddit. All of that is good, really, really good. But I've come to the realization that anything important affecting the actual players takes the devs weeks to acknowledge. Now, take a look back at the first time the hit registry issues come up. Everyone thought it was an armor glitch, and that's kind of how it was sold, or how people were saying, what it was. And it went up on Reddit. It was upvoted on Reddit, as the highest sort of upvoted thing for ages, 3 weeks before the devs finally came out and acknowledged the issue as something they're working on. Now, their excuse was they didn't want to just say anything about it until they possibly had a fix in place. But that don't work, because players will just sit there and think that you're ignoring the issue, and that was the problem. You went into State of the Games following that, and people were spamming the State of the Games, armor glitch, when is it going to be fixed? And there was never any acknowledgement until a couple of weeks later, where they said, we know this is an issue and we're working on it. Now, the devs have got better with this. I'll be honest, they've got better with acknowledging issues and talking about it. They've covered a few things recently in State of the Games. They talked about how they're looking into this, and they're looking into possible fixes. And to me, acknowledging the existence of any of these issues that are brought up in the community is the only way that you're going to be able to appease players, myself included. I don't mind when the devs come on State of the Game and they say, look, we know this is a problem, we are working on a fix. I don't mind that, because at least I know the devs are aware that, and they're paying attention to what people are saying. But it's when they don't do that, it's when this stuff is a problem, like glitches, stash space, whatever it might be. But when these things are clearly important and they're not acknowledged, and this will go on to a couple of points now. So we've got Title Update 6 coming out towards, I'm going to assume, the end of September, so about 5 weeks. And the devs have been asking for all of our feedback on loot, RNG, PvP and inventories. This is, the primary focus for TU6. And all I can say is finally, because that is the biggest thing that needs to be addressed right now. But what really bothered me about the devs asking for constructive feedback is, have they not seen Reddit or the Ubi forums from the last 5 months? I mean, they're absolutely jam-packed full of ideas of how to fix all of the problems the game has. And I know it's a needle in a haystack. I know there's thousands and thousands and thousands of posts, but you will find, I found that there will be reoccurring themes. For example, the recalibration station, the fact of having 2 attributes or 1 attribute, 1 talent, or 2 talents, being able to roll 2 of something on the recal station is a reoccurring thing that people want. And that doesn't take long to go and find that out. It really doesn't. And also the amount of YouTube videos out there, my own included, and a lot of my videos are, there are some of my ideas, but generally I take ideas from you guys, I put it into a video because I want everyone to have a voice, I want it to come from, not just me and just, because everyone's now reminded in many ways. So I want it to come from a vast majority of people, and I accumulate that in a video, especially with these recent ones about the mega threads. I accumulate that into a video and put it out there, and there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more that covers every topic in a lot more detail, and the amount of information out there is pretty much unlimited. So it did feel a little bit insulting that the devs are asking for feedback. You have all the feedback that you could ever need. You really do. Again, and this is the problem with the communication here with the devs and the players. Now, this is going way back, but the biggest communication problem this game has ever suffered actually came before the game was even released. Now, how many of you thought 3 separate Dark Zones was a good idea? How many of you thought PvP should be slowed down so, it's become a snorefest? No one, exactly, no one wanted that. So why then did the devs decide that this is how they were going to build the Division 2? So many things from the Division should have made the cut in the Division 2, but they didn't. And why is that? Well, it's because the devs did not communicate with the players. The same happened with Destiny 2, which, fortunately, because I love Destiny 2, fortunately it's made a big comeback, which is what I'm hoping the Division 2 does, especially with Title Update 6 focusing on, the main issues of the game. But the issue was that they never spoke to anyone. They never asked any of the players. And there's been a lot of surveys recently from the developers that they're clearly wanting feedback. But it is a little bit insulting when there is so much feedback out there, my own included, that would easily make the game 10 times better than what it already is. So anyway, I kind of wanted the rant to be over there. I wanted to kind of offer some advice on how this can be improved. So how about when you say expeditions are on a rotation and they will be removed in 4 weeks, you actually tell us, the players, in game, and you tell us way in advance of it actually happening, not 2 days before it happens on Twitter. Do you know how many people don't actually use Twitter or social media in general? Now, I know plenty of people who don't, especially Twitter, and these are the people who really got stung here. How about when a bug or a glitch is the most upvoted on Reddit, you actually acknowledge this in the state of the game and not wait 3 weeks? I couldn't imagine doing my own full-time job and ignoring a customer's email about an issue for 3 weeks. Why? Because not only would I get in serious trouble, that person would probably be very cheesed off and they might well just leave. Now, if I didn't have an answer right there and then to their issue, I'd at least respond with an email acknowledging receipt of their email and that I'd be looking into the problem. Now, I'm grateful and I have a lot of respect for the devs. Julian Garrity on Twitter is the man. He responds to everyone, he reports stuff, and he doesn't have to, he's top of the tree. I'm pretty sure that's not really his job, but he cares. So he does all of that stuff quite a lot. I do have a lot of respect for the developers and all of that stuff, because I know how much hard work they're doing to fix this game. The amount of updates that have come out are just staggering. But that's, you know, that's a clear indication that, yeah, there's problems, but they're trying to fix it. So I do have a lot of respect for the devs, and I'm grateful. But the communication between the devs and the players, it's pretty awful right now, to be completely honest. Now, I did almost forget about one major communication event, and that was the stash space sold at launch, the temporary stash space. So many people got burnt by this because the stash space was never sold as temporary. I still get comments now about this because this was a calculated attempt at encouraging people to buy the special editions without actually getting anything in return. So it started day one, and it's still happening now. We've had it with Expeditions, and I just really hope it doesn't happen again. The communication is killing the game. So anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. I was just frustrated as I was making my other video, and I just wanted to vent in this video. And this was mainly a response to the Expeditions fiasco, because, you know, I don't want this to be repeated again, but I do have concerns that it will. Anyway, thanks if you did watch all of this. I'm sorry about the rant. The next video will probably be a lot more positive. And until the next one, guys, epic out.